everyone, and welcome to Jim's EV Adventures. Today I have a very special guest with me, my wonderful wife, who recently started driving, as you know, the Hyundai Ioniq 5. She's had about 2 months experience with this, so I thought we'd give her a chance to answer a few questions and tell about her experience with driving an EV. So let's start out with the first question. What were your thoughts when you first drove up and saw the car sitting in the garage for the very first time? And for those of you who don't know it, I'm going to put a link to that video in the description below. What were your first thoughts?
Well, honey, I was shocked. I was surprised. I definitely didn't understand what was going on, but I did like that pretty car that was sitting in the garage.
It's a very pretty car.
You did good.
Okay. Was there anything in particular about that car that caught your attention?
Well, I like the color, I like the style, and I like the fact that it was a little bigger than what I had previously was driving, so had more room for passengers. Yeah.
We found that out on a recent short trip. 4 adults and a baby, and we all fit not perfectly comfortable, but comfortably enough.
It was good.
My second question is, let's start with the basics. What were your first impressions when you started driving the vehicle?
Well, I felt like I was flying. I couldn't gauge how fast I was going. Even when I was driving below the speed limit, I felt like I was speeding. Right, I just felt like it was a smooth drive, but I felt I was just flying down the road.
So how does it compare as far as the seeming speed between the Bolt and the Ioniq 5? My car sits up just a little bit higher when you're sitting in the car. So I guess because you're sitting lower, it feels like you're driving faster. Is that basically it?
Yeah.
Okay. So how has driving an EV changed the way you plan your daily routine? And do you feel more mindful about charging and route planning, or is it for the daily drive is just as normal as it would be with a gas-powered car?
I think for the daily driving, it is as normal as driving a gas-powered car. When it comes to charging at the house, well, you always remind me, have you charged the car?
And that's something that from me personally, it took a while to get used to coming home and plugging in your car. 6 to 8 weeks to make a good habit out of it, and since I've been taking care of it for the first month or so, I now go out and greet her every evening on the days that she needs to charge, which is only really every other day with her car. With my car, and because of how far I drive, I have to charge every day. But with her car, she doesn't drive quite as far, plus it has better range, so every other day at the most, sometimes every 3 days. So now that you've driven it for a bit, what would you say are your favorite features in the car?
Well, number one, I never loved going to put gas in the car, going to the gas station. So that is a relief that I don't have to do that anymore. So my favorite features, I like the technology of the vehicle. So, when I'm trying to change lanes and that little red light is on the side mirror that says someone's coming, something like that. That's very comforting. I love having that feature there. That's one of my favorite features. And the dashboard, the 2 dashboard, that's excellent. Like
especially the Apple CarPlay. How do you like the features as they were compared to your last car? Because your last car was, of course, a Honda Accord. It had the 2 screens there, one that was more car information, and then the main screen that was the Apple CarPlay, but it was tiny compared to almost twice the size.
That was the difference, right? So the Honda did have those 2 screens, like you mentioned, and they were great, but this new vehicle, the screens are larger, and I like that.
Is there any feature that you use now in the new car that you can't imagine doing without in a future car?
Well, I like the when you turn on the bright lights, and if another car is approaching, it goes off.
Auto dimming.
And then it will come back on.
Right.
I like that. That's pretty awesome.
That is a pretty neat feature, and both of our cars have that feature. She uses hers more than I use mine because I just like being in control of my bright and dim lights. But that's beside the point. And why is that important to you?
Well, coming to on the way to our home, the road is very dark.
Very
right?
dark, yeah.
So I put on the bright light, but I get used to it being there and forget, I have the bright light on. Now when another car is coming, it will dim, so I'm not blinding anyone.
Right.
So that's a pretty cool feature. That's why it's important to me.
So this is the most important question I have so far. How does the experience of driving this EV compare to your previous car in terms of comfort, quietness, and handling, and acceleration?
Well, definitely it's much quieter, right?
Right.
And the acceleration is like, I feel like Batman. You can take off immediately. That's pretty cool.
It's instantaneous torque.
So it has the quietness and it's a smooth drive.
So now comparing back to your old car, this car, what was the biggest thing you had to get used to? What was the biggest adjustment for you going from gasoline to electric?
Going from gasoline to electric. Well, this might sound silly, but there's quite a few times that we plug the car in overnight, and I go in to start the car and it won't go into gear. I'm like, what's the problem? I'm looking at it, trying to figure out what's going wrong, and then ding, 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 ding. It's still plugged in.
Still plugged in. So for those of you who don't drive EVs, if your car is plugged in and you try to put it in gear, most modern cars, at least since 2020, they will not move if it's plugged in. And that's a safety feature to keep you from driving off and, like some of the videos you'll see on YouTube, driving away with the gas pump still stuck to your car. You can't do that in an EV. Was there anything about driving an EV that surprised you as compared to driving a gasoline-powered car? Any surprises? Not really?
No, not really.
Well, she's been riding in an EV for 4 years, so, and I've kind of done all the EV things, so I've kind of spoiled that one. So another question related to charging. What are your honest thoughts about the charging experience away from home when you're having to charge when you're on the road, like our most recent trip up to St. Augustine?
It's complicated.
It is complicated. And what in your opinion would make it better and easier for EV owners to adopt it?
I think one of the upside is that I have you, right?
Right.
And there's so many apps that you have to download for the right charger, EV charger, so you can have access to it. And yeah, that is something that I'm still learning.
So one of the things that we've talked about, and we've set up EV Go on her car, that's almost plug-in charge. It's what they call auto charge. You just plug it in and the car starts charging if you have an account established. And plug-in charge is a standard that all of the EV manufacturers are trying to set up right now, but it's not there. Even when auto charge is established nationwide and throughout all the networks, you still have to have an account, and that's going to take some time to establish. There should be a universal way to do this, and manufacturers, if you're listening to the people who are driving EVs, you need to get with the program and make this simple. That's all I'm going to say about it. And now the final question. Now that you've driven an EV for a couple of months, would you recommend an EV to others?
I would recommend EV. I would also recommend that you do your homework. Understand EV, watch channels like my husband's channel, really get a good understanding of the charging system, how to take care of it.
Right.
And then it's worth getting. It's worth studying and getting acquainted with it. And I'm glad I have one. Thank you.
I'm glad you have one too, because now we've got a road tripping car. Okay, so this is going to be a very short video, probably less than 10 minutes. But I want to thank you for taking the time to answer these questions honestly. Most people are going to think that we rehearsed these. We did not. This is all straight off the cuff. I have these questions that I've developed over the past few weeks. It's taken us some time to get the time to do this because of our busy schedules. We both work full time. I do want to thank you for taking the time to do this for this channel and for these folks, because they need to understand that EVs are not the big bad wolf that everybody says they are. I hope this gives everyone a deeper perspective on what it's like to drive an EV. And thanks for watching, and as always, let us know if you have any comments and put questions down there for us. And we'll talk about this again in a few more months when she's had some more experience. And if you are an EV driver already and have your own experiences that you would like to share, get in contact with me. I'll do an interview over Zoom with you. I don't have any problems with talking to people about EVs because it's one of my favorite subjects. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more EV insights. And as always, I'll see you out there somewhere or along the route from point A to point B. So take it easy, everybody. See you all real soon. Remember, treat everyone with kindness, put a smile on your face, help someone today, and pay it forward when someone does the same for you. Again, thank you very much for stopping by today. We look forward to seeing you again in the very near future or somewhere along the route from point A to point B. Take it easy, everybody. See you all real soon.